Good morning, friends. Happy Monday. Okay, we have to start with our countdowns. So we have 5 days now until Christmas break, and we have 11 days until Christmas. That is so exciting. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. Okay, let's get started with writing. So, friends, we've planned our writing, we've written our draft. We've actually written a few drafts because you guys did a free writing, and then you also were able to use one of your other ideas to write about. And today we're going to look at revising and editing. And that might sound a little scary, but it's really not, guys. So we're going to look at a writing checklist in just a second. But first, I want to talk about what revising and editing is, okay? So revising has to do with the content of your writing. So that's what you're writing about, okay? And editing has to do with grammar. So making sure you have capital letters at the beginning of your sentence, making sure you're using punctuation, all of those kinds of things. And we're going to head over to Seesaw for a second to look at the exact writing checklist that you will see on your assignment today. And what you're going to do is you're going to go through each one of those points on your checklist, and if you need to add something to your writing, take something away, whatever we need to fix, this is the time to fix it before we publish on Wednesday. So friends, we're going to head on over to that Seesaw post, and I'll see you in just a second. Okay, friends. So we are going to go ahead and dive into this checklist. So our first checklist item says, my writing piece has characters. So friends, for some of us, like for Miss Greathouse, in my writing piece, I'm writing from my point of view. So I'm using words like I, me, and my. And so I am the only character in my story. So that's important for if you don't have any other characters and you're just talking about yourself, that you are still a character in your story, okay? The next one is that it has a setting. So remember, a setting is a place. Where is your story taking place, okay? The second one is that it has a sequence of events. So that means that your events are in order and they make sense. So like Miss Greathouse is writing about decorating her Christmas tree. Well, on the first page, I'm not going to write, my tree is decorated, we're all done, right? That would go on my last page. So you have to make sure your events are in order. And on top of that, you have a beginning, middle, and end. That's our next one. So you have something that happens in the beginning. So like Miss Greathouse got her tree and ornaments ready. You have something that happened in the middle. We decorated the tree. And then you have something that happens at the end. My tree is finished. Ta-da. Then the last one for what would be considered revising, so remember that focuses on the content of your writing, is that you focus on one moment. So what that means is that if I'm writing about decorating a Christmas tree, I'm not going to go off and start talking about Disneyland or Sonic the Hedgehog or anything else that doesn't have anything to do with my writing. So all the first 5 items on our checklist have to do with revising. And remember, revising is talking about what is in your writing, so what you are actually writing about. The last 3 are what we would consider editing pieces of our checklist. So our first one says, I use capital letters at the beginning of sentences. So that means you're going to go through every page and every sentence of your writing and make sure, okay, I do have a capital letter at the beginning of my sentence. And if you don't, this is your time to fix it and make that letter capital. The second one for the editing piece is that I use punctuation. So do you have a period, question mark, or exclamation mark at the end of every sentence? And the last one is super, super, super important. so that it is easy for me to be able to read your guys' writing. And it's that you have finger spaces between each word. That's so that your words don't run together and it looks like just one big word that Miss Greathouse can't read. So friends, we're going to head on over to Miss Greathouse's draft and we're going to touch on a few of these. And then it'll be time for you guys to go look at your own writing. Okay friends, so here we are. And the first thing that we're going to focus on is that we used our 3 editing things. So that we have a capital letter at the beginning, a period at the end, and finger spaces between our words. Okay? I'm going to check. Do I have a capital letter at the beginning? Yes. Do I have a period, exclamation mark, or question mark at the end? Yes. Do I have finger spaces between each of my words? Yes. And friends, you know what Miss Greathouse just realized while I was looking at this? I realized, guys, that I forgot a letter in ornaments, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross this out, okay? And on top, I'm going to write it the correct way. So this is also a time that you could double check for spelling, but we're not going to focus on that this unit. So we're mainly focusing on capital letter, finger spaces, and punctuation at the end. But by rereading my writing, I noticed a mistake. So good writers always go back and reread what they wrote. Okay? So then we're going to go to my next page. Capital letter, okay. We've got our finger spaces. And we've got our period at the end. Excuse me, friends. Same thing. We have our capital letter. We have our finger spaces between our words, and we have our period at the end. Last page. We have a capital letter, and we have our period at the end. But friends, on this page I'm saying, now my tree is finished, right? So I'm saying it very excitedly. So instead of a period, I think that we should use an exclamation mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an X through our period, and then I'm going to put an exclamation mark over here, and I'm going to circle it to know that that's the one I'm going to use. Okay? So when I'm reading my writing, I would read it like, now my tree is finished, right? So that's why we're going to add that mark there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to double check for characters and setting. And remember, in my writing, guys, I'm my only character. So using the word I, or me, or my, that's talking about me because I'm telling the story from my point of view. So how I saw it. Okay? So we're going to read through my draft completely. And then we're going to think back and say, okay, did we hear characters? And did we hear a setting? I got my tree and ornaments ready. Okay, well, I am the character, so we have our character there. I put the ornaments on the Christmas tree. Okay? I put the star on top of the tree. Okay? Now my tree is finished. Okay, friends. So we had our characters, or our character, which is just me, which is from the I. But friends, you know what I'm realizing? I didn't include a setting. So what I'm going to have to do is go back and add a setting. So friends, my Christmas tree is in our dining room. Okay, so that's where we have our Christmas tree set up. Miss Greathouse bought a new Christmas tree this year. It is a very tall Christmas tree. Friends, I cannot reach the top without a step ladder. Okay? Very tall tree. Miss Greathouse was very excited about it. But anyway, it is in our dining room because that is where it would fit. So, somewhere in my writing, I'm going to need to specify that we're in the dining room, right? Because right now I could be setting up this Christmas tree outside. I could be in the middle of a forest. I could be in the middle of an ocean, which doesn't even make sense. But since we didn't tell our readers where we are, that's what they could think. So I got my tree and ornaments ready. And I think I'm going to add it here. So I got my tree and ornaments ready. And I'm going to add... how do I want to say this? I got my tree and ornaments ready. I got my tree and ornaments ready to go in the dining room, to set up in the dining room. I got my tree and ornaments ready to set up in the dining room. And so we'll have our period there, and we're going to X out our period there. So friends, you're going to do the same thing. So let's head on back and review our checklist.